Welcome back to the Barone Zone, where we host our lovely show, Everybody Loves Raymond. My name is Alex Shear, and I am one of three fabulous hosts on this podcast. I'm joined with my friends, Adam Rudy.
Hello.
And the other guy.
Hi, I guess that's me.
Yeah, that's him.
My name is Mike. Thank you all for tuning in today.
My name is Mike. I host a podcast about Everybody Loves Raymond with my two friends.
Listen.
I assume that's what you do when you stand up at the what anonymous are you?
All of them at once.
That must be a really fun conversation to have.
Yeah, it really is. Actually, I think I think what Adam has in front of him is just my Tinder bio. My name is,
yeah. And these pictures, I mean, if you listener have ever seen the covers of the Everybody Loves Raymond DVDs, Mike has merely recreated those with Ray in the foreground, painstakingly, and then all of the Barones in the back along the midsection of the DVD. Mike is in costume as each of them behind him. So if you swipe through, you're just seeing, however many permutations of Mike in costume as Ray, Marie, Robert, Deborah, Frank.
I think it's important to just make sure people know what's important to me, and that is the Barones.
Mike, you get a lot of likes on that, or?
I've gotten a match.
One match?
Yeah.
Who is she?
Yeah, her name is Marie. Weirdly enough, it really is just the picture of Marie. Haven't gotten any real responses yet. She's asked me a couple of good questions, but really only one-word responses. First question was, what's your social security number, which is always
fun. Sounds like you might be getting catfished.
Yeah. No way.
Well, I think it's highly unlikely that Doris Roberts has matched with you on Tinder on account of,
You don't know that.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know that. But it's good to be back in the Barone Zone. I mean, obviously last week I wasn't here on account of our special friend getting into some trouble and needing a little bit of assistance.
Yeah, Adam, how'd that go? Did it all work out in the end?
It was good. The bail is pretty low for him, considering, it's sort of like not a membership discount,
a punch card,
but like
right?
It's a punch card where if you get arrested for driving through buildings X number of times, they lower the bail exponentially each time. It's pretty much just when they award someone in court $1 as sort of representing, symbolically the pain that you went through. So I just had to
You're right, but you're a dick. Yeah, that kind of thing.
I had to hand the mayor of Lynbrook $1 and give him a firm handshake.
Did he get his 10th punch free sandwich yet, or?
He did. On the way out, he was eating just the sloppiest Italian hero you've ever seen.
My man.
And it was party sub too. It wasn't.
Wow,
it wasn't a foot long.
That's massive. I gotta give Billy some credit. He doesn't do anything small. He goes all the way in.
Famously. Man doesn't do anything small.
No.
But we left. We
got him back to his home at Madison Square Garden, right?
Well, not quite. First, we got out. We got on the LIRR and we stopped at the stop that's just a newsstand. Because I wanted to get some flaming hot Cheetos. Newsstand Station.
Yeah,
that's not that far from here, is it?
No. It's like 3 stops.
We can probably see it outside the window.
Yeah, no, it's right there. It has in big letters "news" just above it.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So I got some flaming hot Cheetos, but Billy saw, and this is interesting and kind of relevant to our episode today. Billy saw they had so many copies. It was like everyone is so excited about this of Long Island Magazine. They have come out with their annual list of the 100 sexiest Long Islanders.
Already? But
yeah.
It's not.
Yeah, I mean, it's that
September.
time of year again.
Oh, I guess they're dropping it early.
Huh.
This is interesting. Okay.
I wasn't aware.
In the foreword that was written by the editor of Long Island Magazine, who is, of course, Teresa Caputo, the Long Island Medium.
Yeah, Teresa, it's a good rap for her. She's doing great. Yeah.
She said that because of just how sexy Long Island has been this year, they couldn't wait. Of course, Billy wanted to know where he came in on the list. And I'm going to give you guys one guess each.
I was going to
Okay.
say, I want to guess.
Hold on, I gotta ask. Remind me. The top how many sexiest Long Islanders?
100.
Top 100. Okay.
100.
I mean,
Yeah.
Is it limited to like just actors or anyone of note from Long Island?
It's anyone who has been photographed enough that a stranger to them could look at their photographs and say that person is sexy.
Okay, so it's
Okay.
not just like actors and stuff. Could be like criminals and things like
It could be criminals, it could be magicians, it could be professional women's basketball players,
but
any sort of-
Father Joe from the 8 a.m. Mass is not probably going to be on there, right? Because he came in 30 one year. I'm hoping that he gets a bit of a boost this time. Around.
Yeah, he came in 30 that year, and then the very next year, nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
It was one of the fastest.
it's one of the most controversial things that's I think ever happened
On Long
the
Island.
island.
Yeah.
Is
Well, because
that
he
removal.
left the service. The service.
Service. I think it's called
He
the
was
priest.
dishonorably discharged.
God damn it.
Yeah.
All right, one guess each as to where
That's where Billy is. Okay.
Billy came in on the top 100 sexiest Long
Mike,
Island.
do you
So
want to
fast-
guess first?
I mean, as we all know, Billy does have the longest reign of being the number one guy.
You could even say that he's been on this list for
the longest time.
right.
Yeah, for
Right.
the longest time. Yeah. So he had like 17 straight years in a row, but he's dipped
Yeah.
down since then. I'm still gonna think he's in the top 20. I'm gonna go 18. I think he's number 18.
That's a pretty good guess, Mike. I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna be bold. I'm gonna say he's number 2.
Number 2. Oh
Number
man.
2.
Okay.
Can I ask who in your mind is number 1 that bumps him down to number 2?
That's a great question. I would probably say. Hang on as I consult my mind.
Bill O'Reilly. Disavowed.
That's another one
Disavowed.
where he came in hot that one year and then
fell
nowhere to
straight
be
off.
seen.
I guess Billy Crystal. I don't know.
Billy Crystal's a good guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good guess, but it is wrong. Are you ready for me to reveal to you where Billy came in?
I mean, I
definitely.
would also say Natalie Portman, but we know the controversy of her not actually being born in Long Island, just
Yeah.
raised.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
She would be my number 1.
Well, Billy Joel this year, he came in at number 100.
Wow.
Dead last. Dead
What the
last on the
hell?
list.
Controversy. Yeah.
I guess you win, Mike. Closest without going over.
Hey, well, I did. Yeah, I didn't go over. That's right. I got it. Okay.
You know, he didn't win.
Who?
Immediately after we opened up the magazine and Billy frantically flipped through all of the people there, he sort of flew into one of his states and he, let's just say the train left the tracks
Hey.
with him at the helm and, well, drove through somebody's house.
Oh no! Not again.
Yeah, and this one, this felt very much like my fault, but I couldn't be. I just left. I mean, it's there's nothing I could do for him at that point. I mean,
So then, who's number 1 this year? Let's go through the top 10. Let's go through the top 10.
well, okay, the top 10.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously at number 10, coming in hot is actually Billy Crystal
Oh,
because
hey, okay.
Hey, all right.
You got pretty close.
he's sort of having his moment with the movie that he did with Tiffany Haddish that came out 3 years ago. I'm just realizing. But
It only got to Limbrook like a few months ago.
It's pretty
Limbrook
recent.
is on a delay.
pretty recent.
Culturally.
Yeah. Number 9. Wait, is that number? I'm looking over your shoulder, Adam. I hope you don't mind.
Yeah.
I'm seeing number 9 is Ralph Macchio.
Machio.
Oh, yeah.
Macchio, yeah, Ralph Macchio, the Karate Kid himself.
That
made
one,
number
that one I
Cobra
get.
Kai.
That one I get.
Okay, I mean, another pretty delayed recognition, but we'll take it.
You know what's great about Ralph Macchio's piece? Because you know how it's like the Time 100 where everyone writes a little blurb about each person on the list. Billy Zabka wrote about how Ralph Macchio taught him how to remove, hard to shave hair. And it's a simple 2-step process. You know what it is?
Yeah. No, what is it? Is it what I'm thinking it is?
Wax on, wax
Wax
off.
on, wax off.
Nice.
We're on fire today, boys. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it.
Who's number 8?
Yeah, who's number 8?
Number 8, I mean, this is someone who's near and dear to our hearts, and I'm surprised he's still this high on the list, because I think he first showed up in like 97 or, around the time that he first appeared on Raymond. But Kevin James, climbing all the way up from 99
to number 7?
I think.
Or number 8. Number 8.
Number 8.
I think that was because of the release of Paul Blart 3, Blartmageddon.
Right, which is a Lindbrook exclusive.
Yeah. It hasn't. The rest of the world is not ready for it yet. Yeah. We actually. The listener doesn't know this, but I mean, obviously you guys do. We leased out the first couple floors of the Lindbrook skyscraper.
That's true.
That's big for filming. Yeah, that's actually how we got the funding to start this podcast. A little behind the scenes for you.
Yeah.
It was an interesting choice that they moved Paul Blart 3 to the very first 3 floors of an office building instead of a mall setting, which it's usually been.
It really was. It was a creative choice.
Yeah,
and I respect it.
Because Blart is more of a workplace comedy where Blart is like he hung up his Segway and now he's a cubicle jockey and he's got a crush on a woman who is at the reception desk in the office and their boss is crazy. And he says the craziest things.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It's a great film.
It's really good.
Does he put stuff in Jell-O?
Blart puts stuff in Jell-O, and then he has to eat the Jell-O, of course, for his diabetes, or low blood sugar.
But that's cool. Kevin James up to number.
Kevin James up to number 8.
I think that we're gonna be. I don't think we're gonna have enough time to go through everything. Will we? What's number 7?
Let's speed it up.
Number 7. Number 7. I'm looking here. We got Busta Rhymes actually as number 7.
Yeah.
Wow. Good for him.
He's back.
Yeah. He's doing pretty good.
And you would think no one's been thinking about him for a very long time, but now, for the editors of Long Island Magazine anyway, top of mind. Yeah. And he looks good.
He does.
Busta looks great. So.
Busta looks great.
Harvey Milk is number 6.
Harvey Milk's from Long Island?
He was born in Woodmere.
Okay.
Whoa, I know where Woodmere is. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Well,
which is, they've opened it up this year to Living or Dead, which I think is... It's an interesting line. It's very controversial, but publishing, they've got to do something to get people to buy magazines.
Did they do a tribute for Steve Buscemi?
Because
I know
in the sense that he's number 6.
Oh well, all right then.
He is. Did you think Steve Buscemi was dead?
Did he not just recently pass away?
Absolutely not.
No. Really? Am I thinking of someone else?
I think you might be thinking of someone else.
Are you thinking of Ray Liotta?
No, hang on. I'm going to look it up.
Speaking of Ray Liotta, number 4.
Oh, right. Number 4 with a bullet. Well, he's number 4 and number 5.
Oh, yeah. No, I am thinking of someone else.
No,
Steve, come on the show and call me an asshole for saying you're dead. Sorry.
I was going to say
where are we in the countdown?
Number 5. We're at number 5 now. Number 5.
Okay, Ray Liotta is number 5.
I was going to say Francis Ford Coppola, I think, is number 4. I see Francis Ford Coppola is number 4.
Yeah, he's number 4. Yeah. The blurb about him is actually written collectively by the newsroom of Long Island Magazine.
Yep.
And it's mostly a thank you note for all the wine. So I feel like there was some dirty dealing going on in the back of this.
I mean, listen, the man's pretty
magazine.
sexy. I like him. I dig it.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, is he still with us? I don't know.
Coppola? He's been around a while. I genuinely don't know.
Number 3 is all of the Marx Brothers who lived in Great Neck.
They all have the equal amount of sexy. They're identical triplets, so they're all right there.
It checks out to me.
It's all the Marx Brothers, but also all the Marx cousins as well. Pretty much any male member of the Marx family from Carl down is
nice.
is number 3 sexiest.
Gotcha. Good for him. Good for them. Number 3. Now we're at the top. Wait, was that number 4 or number 3?
That was number 3.
That was number 3.
I believe was number 3. Now
shit.
we're at
number 2.
We're at number 2.
Number 2, the second sexiest person to ever exist on Long Island is
This year.
For this year.
is Rosie O'Donnell. Oh my God!
Hey, good for
Rosie.
her. She's back.
Yeah.
It's honestly a shame that there's only one woman in the top 10 sexiest people.
And it's not Idina Menzel. Idina got number 11.
No. Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, I wonder who's making this list.
Yeah, it's Teresa Caputo.
it's Teresa
We just
Caputo,
mentioned
but
it.
also
Oh,
with
right,
input from the rest of the Long Island newsroom.
Yes.
The rest of the limb.
Hold on, I'm just scanning the...
The
all the
blurbs
impractical jokers are in the lower...
are in the lower tiers. Yeah.
Lower 50.
That's still too
just-
high.
That's.
I'm
Oh,
just looking
listen,
for all my
You look at
Long
Murr
Island
in the
touch
eyes
points
and
here.
tell me that he doesn't look gorgeous to you. Okay, come on.
Okay,
Murr,
come on.
Give me my
Murr's a good
frankincense
looker.
before you give me my myrrh.
Murr's a good looker. Hey, that's a
And
great
number
joke.
one...
Oh, number one. Here we go. Should we get a drum roll here?
Oh, shit.
Good good sound effect, Adam.
Yeah, thank you, Adam. I forgot that you had a thing.
This is insane.
Number one.
The number one sexiest person on Long Island for 2022 is Mike.
Holy shit! I made it.
Hell yeah.
I made it.
I was going to ask where the three of us were.
Yeah.
That's pretty good, Mike.
The podcast is bringing us far, man.
You and I are not on the list at all, Alex, but
Suck it.
Mike is number one.
I knew
God
it.
damn
I
it,
knew it.
Caputo. I supported you longer than either of these fools.
They must have found my Tinder profile. They must have
Well,
found it.
hold on. The blurb is kind of interesting. So this was written by...
Here we go.
This was written by... It's signed by everybody on Long Island.
Well, everybody.
It
From
says, in
Montauk to
protest...
Manhasset.
In protest of the devastating effects of climate change, we would like to draw your attention to the most unfortunate man in Lynbrook. His name is Michael Dormer. And look at his picture. This is what the earth would look like if we continued to abuse it in the way that we do. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
This is.
She's taking a stand.
Oh
And
my God,
I
that's-
mean,
Listen, first
So-
of all, I want to go on the record and say that picture is not very flattering. Okay, it's taken at a bad angle.
Right.
I am wearing.
What are you wearing?
I'm wearing.
Describe it to me because I can't really make out what it is.
No, I know. It's like it's cake stained, so it looks bad. It was on my birthday. It was on my
Oh, when
birthday.
you came out of the cake.
When I came out of the cake.
When you came out of your own birthday cake.
Yeah, when I burst out of the cake.
Because we were all there at the Barone Zone celebrating your birthday, us and Billy and all of your other friends.
you jumped,
we were there.
You jumped out gasping for air.
It's a picture of Raymond front and center making a great thumbs up, and I'm saying this guy knows how to party on the t-shirt, and I'm going nuts. And listen, it was not the best moment. Alcohol was imbibed. If you ask, I don't think the person that wrote that would say those things if she just knew how handsome my mom says that I am. Okay, climate change is real, so like if this works, I don't know how I would feel about it, but at the same time, still pretty mean here.
Hang on, Mike. You didn't know about this? Because I just saw that front cover. Here, give me that, Adam.
Oh, yeah.
You're on the front. Like, it's a picture of you with, like, a little crown, and it says top 100 sexiest people on Long Island, and you're on the top, and, of course, on the bottom is number 100,
Billy Joel.
our good friend Billy.
But
What's interesting about the cover is the main headline is, top 100 sexiest Long Islanders. I saw your picture, and I thought it was referring to one of the other headlines that was on there, which, I mean, as you can see, there's, man chokes on sandwich, requires emergency assistance.
You don't need
CPR dummies are becoming shockingly real looking. That one could have
Yeah, I
been
kind of
it.
thought you had moonlighted as a dummy model.
Well, congrats, Mike, for
is
being
this-
the
Yeah.
sexiest man in Long Island.
Congratulations on
the protest vote. Yeah, I'll take it.
Billy
Listen,
Joel is definitely coming for you, so take caution.
I'm the one
Yeah.
that needs to be dethroned now, so I'm okay with
Yeah,
it.
you better watch your back.
Yeah, I will. Damn it.
I mean, when they wrestle Billy out of that train wreckage,
Yeah.
he's gonna be pissed.
Yeah, listen, I know. Hey, listen, I haven't seen it. I got banned from Newsstand Station after I
That's true.
climbed into the cake that they made for me. But but
It wasn't hollow. You ate your way in.
no, yeah.
Yeah.
You can order hollow cakes?
Yes.
Oh shit, that would have made things much better.
It's interesting too that Newsstand Station will make you a cake. They've got
They got quite a
You know,
variety of
they got
it's
products there.
mostly Snapples and chips, but
They
no.
got a little bakery on the side.
Yeah. It's made by Carlos, the cake boss. The friggin' cake boss. He got kicked out of Hoboken.
Yeah, I was gonna
and
say.
and
Oh, yeah.
took up station at Newsstand Station, Long Island. Yeah.
And that is how it works. If you get kicked out of New Jersey, they exile you to Long Island.
And weirdly, if you get kicked out of Long Island, you go to Staten Island, and then from there you're done. Yeah.
From there, you just go to the Twilight Zone.
Yeah. Yeah. Pete Davidson's right on the edge. He's Twilight Zoning. But yeah.
You know,
Well-
I don't know if you realize this, Adam. This actually correlates wonderfully to the episode we're going to talk about today.
Oh, does it?
What
yeah,
a
I sort of thought
coincidence.
it was appropriate, and this just, my suspicions that we are very well listened to on Long Island are being borne out here, that they know we were about to hit season 1, episode 14, Who's Handsome, and they were like, we gotta rush this publication.
I gotta.
That's why it
and
came
they
out
did.
early, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, good for you, Mike.
All right, I'll take it.
I'm going to
Yeah.
try very hard to be on next year's list. If only I didn't have this woodpecker nose, I think I'd have a chance.
Oh no, you look
It's
good.
a normal
You look
nose.
fine. You look good.
It's a normal nose. But that aside, I mean, as we
As we go, I guess.
mentioned, I think we're done talking about the
Sexiest.
list.
Yeah, I think you're right. Just remember to save gas, I guess. If that's that's the moral of the story. Anyway, yeah, we should dive into Who's Handsome. We should dive into season 1, episode 14. I thought this was actually a really, really good episode. I thoroughly enjoyed
We'll
this.
save it for after the break.
Okay,
What
I'm
are you
sorry.
doing?
I'm sorry.
Have you ever been on this show before?
I
Jeez.
forget these things.
Well, listener, if you are aching to hear what the sexiest man on Long Island asterisk thinks about season 1, episode 14 of Everybody Loves Raymond, you better stick around after the break, because we're going to talk all about it when we come back.
Jeez, all look and no brain with this one.
All
My
right, go,
God.
go, go. Sorry.
I'm getting a cranberry juice.
We love Everybody Loves Raymond, but we know that Raymond can be a lazy, good-for-nothing husband sometimes. He can forget to do things, and you know what's one thing that could help him out? Todoist. Become focused, organized, and calm with Todoist, the world's #1 task manager and to-do list app. Support this show by visiting Todoist through postfund.info/ads. And when you get there, let him know Raymond sent you.
Welcome back to Everybody Loves Raymond. We're talking about season 1, episode 14. It's called Who's Handsome? And for me, look, my overall impression of this episode was that it was a great one. I really liked this episode.
Yeah, I thought this was a really, really solid episode.
This one, yeah, I also agree. Top tier of what we've seen so far.
Yeah. It's an important episode for a few different reasons. We'll get in first. Should I? Yeah, we'll throw it
Go
out there
ahead.
right now.
Who
First of all,
cares?
it's the first appearance of Amy. Amy,
That's right.
one of the
I-
major characters in later seasons.
I could not believe she came in this early. When I think of Amy, I think like season 4 or 5 to
Maybe
start.
even later, because
Yeah.
that's when the arc between her and Robert, and then even eventually later on, Stefania comes in.
It's amazing to see her this early, and I forgot how much I love her as a character.
She's a great.
She's just got immediately so much chemistry with everyone.
I agree. Who plays Amy? Adam, did you do research for us today?
Monica Horan, a.k.a. Monica Horan Rosenthal, plays Amy.
Wait, you're telling me that she married Ken Rosenthal?
No, I'm telling you that she married Phil Rosenthal.
Who's Ken Rosenthal? Ken Rosenthal's a baseball reporter. Shit.
Sports guy.
Yeah,
Get it out of your
sports guy.
head.
Sorry, Phil Rosenthal. She married Phil Rosenthal?
Yes, she married Phil Rosenthal. Fun fact, she converted to Judaism before marrying Phil Rosenthal.
Okay. Was she married to him before or after the start of Raymond?
You know what? Hold that thought.
All right.
Ooh.
This is interesting. I'm sipping the tea. Like, why would you, like, I guess Brad Garrett was already taken at this point, because, like...
Is he married?
I mean, he's the perfect specimen.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, how could you not, right?
Like,
well,
yeah.
but then again, if you're Brad Garrett, do you really want to get held down?
They were married, actually, before Everybody Loves Raymond. They met each other while they were attending Hofstra, which in The Ball, Season 1, Episode 12, we saw Ray wearing a Hofstra sweatshirt.
I know.
They got married in 1990. So they had been married for 7 years before this episode.
Okay, well, look at that.
I wonder, for this first appearance, if they intended it as like a cameo type thing. Like, oh, just like a one episode appearance, and then, we won't come back to it really.
She's
I'm
really
not
only
sure.
in one scene this episode, isn't she?
She was, just kind of like the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, the cold open and the first scene.
Oh,
which
okay,
are-
yeah.
She appeared in 66 episodes total.
Okay, yeah, she's a real regular then, yeah.
Yeah. Sort of becoming part of the main cast, I think, in the later seasons, but we'll make sure about that. One of her first roles was on In Living Color, the sketch series. But then, bit parts in other sitcoms. She didn't really have another long arc on something until 8 episodes on The Bold and the Beautiful, the soap opera. But, doesn't do a lot of acting still, but pops up in things here and there. And, of course, she's been in Somebody Feed Phil, Phil Rosenthal's food show as well.
Right.
Oh, okay. I didn't know Phil Rosenthal had a food show. I learned this.
We've actually talked about this
I was
on a
gonna
previous
say, Mike,
episode.
I don't listen to
You
the
do
podcast,
know this.
so,
You were here, though.
You don't have to listen to it, Mike. You lived it.
This was your real life. Yeah. So really thrilled to see her in this episode because she becomes such a big part of the show.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah.
Okay, so, but yeah, we see, I thought that overall, first of all, character work I thought was fantastic in this episode all around. I thought that it got a couple laughs out of me. I was impressed.
I also think this is one of the first episodes where, like, the character spotlight was kind of on everyone and not really just Ray and like a little bit of Deborah. Like, I feel like everyone had a chance to shine except maybe Frank. Well, no, even Frank had a couple good lines.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'd agree.
I liked I like any episode where it's not all about Ray because I don't find Ray a particularly compelling protagonist. Like, obviously Robert's journey here is deeper. Is this the first mention of Robert being divorced?
Yes, in the
because I think
real
prior
series.
to now we just thought he was a loser who never, spread his wings and left the nest. But
Okay.
It really wasn't clarified before now. Like, I think, like, the assumption is, he just kind of, like what you said, is like a loser, quote unquote, and he just kind of lived with his parents
Did you take offense at
forever.
that?
No. I'm just paraphrasing you so that people don't listen to this episode and say, oh my God, Alex called Robert a loser. No, they can point the finger at someone else.
Well, but Robert's not a loser because in this episode we learned that he has been divorced
For about a year.
He got divorced about a year ago, and that's why he's living back home. But so we learn a lot about Robert in this episode. Robert has kind of an arc in this episode, but Ray's arc I felt like was pretty endearing for Ray. Like,
It really
the
was.
conflict here was not something that he was doing wrong necessarily. It was just
him feeling insecure.
feeling his feelings. Yeah. So let's start going through it scene by scene here.
Let's do
The
it.
cold open. Deborah and Amy are in the kitchen of their house, Deborah's house, and sort of catching up. Amy is a little envious of Deborah because Deborah has the husband, the kids. They used to work at the PR firm together, which was mentioned, I think, in Frank the Writer in Gus. They mentioned it.
That's right.
That Deborah used to work in PR. Amy she mentioned she's got the corner office and that she's sort of been focusing on her career, whereas we know that Deborah left to take care of the kids. Her envy of Deborah is then undercut by Ray coming upstairs while they're talking, saying that he has a rash. He hands Deborah a pudding cup that apparently he ate like an oyster, which I thought was pretty fun.
I thought that was a really good visual, actually. I thought it was...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Painted a
And then,
real picture.
He leaves, and this is another one of those cold opens where it's just kind of bifurcated by the intro, and it doesn't really have a punchline other than that. But
It's really just the start of the episode.
yeah, they use that space for more exposition rather than a contained bit.
Sure.
But we go to our conveyor belt opening, and then we come back where Amy is bemoaning the dating life. I thought her sort of she's got to be 30 years old,
Something
35?
like that. If not, yeah.
In that area, I
Mid-
suppose.
Which to our standards, it's like she has plenty of time. She doesn't need to feel like, Deborah's got it all and she'll never have it. Like, I think people get married later these days.
But it's also like, I mean, I also get it, like, right? Like you want to have that, and then you live your life and you see like your friends like getting married, having kids, and you're just like, I'm still single, what's wrong with me? I guess I'll focus on my career so I have an excuse. And then when you get to talking, like, it makes sense to me. I feel like it's not even just like the age thing, it's really just like it's something that she clearly wants and has wanted.
Yeah, I think it makes sense in the context. I just know that at this time, and then probably in like the 80s more specifically, the gotta get married, can't be a single woman stereotype was sort of played a lot in TV and film.
Sure.
And now that seems less, that makes less sense to us in this day and age, I think. But
Now it's more like do what you want. Or at least cool people are like, do what you want.
cool
Yes
people
and-
are like, do what you want.
Yes and no. I think there is still a pressure that definitely a lot of women face, I think in general, but definitely, I definitely think it still exists, but people get married a lot later in life now, so I do think it's been pushed back a few years, but I don't think it's entirely gone.
Yeah, but in this context, for Amy's character, and we see her motivation for feeling this way, it does make sense. Alex is right. But she has a line that was kind of cringy, where she's bemoaning this, and she turns to the twins, and she's like, "Maybe I'll just wait for one of you guys."
Oh, yeah.
which made me go, "Ew."
Yeah. I thought you were referencing a different line about this. Like, there was a line about a salad bar that I thought that.
Oh yeah.
But
well, that visual was gross, but not as gross as grooming the twins.
Yeah,
so.
I would agree with you there. Yeah.
Yeah. Not to say that, I mean, that was obviously just a throwaway joke.
Yeah, it was an innocent,
and let me go on the record and say I don't think Amy would do that.
No, I think the character intended it as a joke.
Amy is hashtag not canceled yet. We're holding.
So they're going back and forth about this, and then Robert enters and is a little taken aback that Amy is there, but he very stiffly asks Deborah to donate to the police.
No, he had a script ready.
Yeah.
And he, like, this is a thing that we see with Robert. Like, when he gets thrown a curveball, he kind of like has a little panic. Like he went in expecting to see Deborah, maybe Ray, and then he saw someone who wasn't them. And then it's like, oh no, my plan. And then he still kind of tried to do his plan. He sidestepped Amy so that he kind of only was facing Deborah, so he could focus on his speech.
Yeah.
It's just it's interesting.
It was a very funny
he's
thing.
Anxious.
Yeah.
I do think, as far as scripts go, like rehearsal and stuff are all good coping strategies if you have the sort of social anxiety that Robert has.
Sure.
So, good for Robert for, trying to make the most of that situation. And then he eventually does, because he asks Deborah to donate. And one of the reasons he gives, and this is not the punchline of the joke, but he says, upgrade our equipment. And if there are any cops listening down below, the only thing I could think of when he said this was cops driving tanks. And I gotta say, I think you guys down there, you should have tasers at most. That's all I'm gonna say.
You're starting. They're bringing the tanks out.
That's all. Good luck getting through here. We fortified this quite a bit since Billy drove through it last. Nothing.
Plywood.
That's right.
Nothing gets through
plywood.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got a question for you guys before we get rated.
They're not gonna bother us.
They like Raymond too much. Come on.
Later in this exact scene, Amy asks Deborah, like, on the side, like, who is that? And Deborah says, oh, that's Ray's brother. And then her response was, Raymond has a brother? In like, oh my goodness, this could be my chance type of thing. Now, here's the question. This entire episode is about Ray doubting himself for being handsome. Does Amy find Raymond attractive to be excited that he has a brother?
Or is Amy so desperate to find someone that Ray having a brother means there's an available man out there?
I took it as a combination of the two. I think that in the cold open, we saw that Ray kind of represented this life that Amy has idealized for herself, like the family and the house and all this stuff. And I think that when she found out that very literally there is an adjacent person, that I thought that she got excited on that. But yes, I also do think that Adam is right. I think that, oh my gosh, there's a man that contributes to society that has a pulse. This might be something to look for. I think that is also part of it.
At the very least, it's another option of somebody. But Robert, Amy hears Robert's speech, and of course she offers to donate $20 as well. And Robert takes it very awkwardly, and then he goes over. And we didn't mention this, but in the cold open, Deborah made cookies when Amy came over and describes cooking or putting them together just using the log of cookie dough. And Amy mentions that she just eats the cookie dough raw.
Like a banana is what she said, yeah.
Like a banana.
And
Robert goes over and does the same thing.
Literally peels it like a banana. I thought,
That was a good touch. And I will say also, just to clarify my previous statement, this was like, Amy then did like the look to Deborah like, oh my God. and then that's when she decides.
This is the thing that
that's when she decides to like further investigate. Like maybe she wouldn't have like, like gotten like tried to get his number before that, and then saw, okay, he's got a cool job, he is interesting, he's well spoken, he's tall, he's handsome, and he does weird shit like me. I think I'm gonna talk to this guy.
Yeah, that's the thing where she's really thinking that Robert is somebody she'd be compatible with. And then she asks him, oh, you're a police officer, your wife must be so worried. And Robert then says, he says something funny.
Not as worried as she used to be. We're divorced.
Right.
Which I thought that was a very good line. Another little piece of interest that I did find actually very funny. I'm sorry, I meant to bring this up earlier. But when Amy gives in her donation of $20, Robert's like, here's your reflective decal.
Yeah, the decal.
And I paid attention. Deborah also donates $20. Deborah does not get a decal, so I think the sticker was the move. I think that was
his little move.
Yeah,
that was like his handkerchief.
His handkerchief?
His gentleman's
his gentleman's like favor.
Oh, yeah.
Very good. Yeah, no, the decal.
Please accept this decal as a token of my gratitude.
But Amy mentions that she has such respect for the police, and you know what? Fellas, I know you're down there, but we've got our big banner of Raymond up on the side of the thing, so you're not going to shoot at Raymond.
He's going, hey, right on it. He's calling out Deborah. Yeah. I'm sorry. Do you want to take a stand on the police on this Everybody Loves Raymond podcast?
I don't give a shit, ACAB. Yeah, I mean, Amy being horny for the police is like very worrisome. Like, okay, so
she's
Amy's
horny
a fascist bootlicker. Great.
I think she's horny for Robert. I don't think she's
Yes.
actually making a
I
statement.
do think that's what.
Yeah, I don't think that's anything to do
I
with
don't
that.
think Amy's driving around with the fucking thin blue line flag on the back of her Camry. But
I don't think that's Amy from what I've seen so far.
yeah, no. In context, the phrase "I have such respect for what you guys do" is not entirely motivated by a love of the police. It is just flirting with Robert.
Motivated by the hots for the guy who eats cookie dough like a banana.
That's right.
That I
So
can
in
get
summation, I see the cops down there are all nodding and they understand where I'm at. You know, the Limbrook Police Department is very they've, you know, defunded themselves actually. They said, "You know what? We've been doing some bad shit." I mean, they have the tank
Actually,
still.
we do notice. I was going to bring that up, but I did notice Officer Smith just dove into the tanks and is now handing out banana cookie doughs. So maybe
That's
it's
true.
just a cookie dough transporting service.
Yeah, it doesn't shoot, you know, whatever tank
It's
shoot.
the ice
It
cream
shoots
tank.
Yeah.
Over here,
Ice
over
cream,
here.
cookie dough, candy. The candy does hurt, though.
Yeah.
When they go to break up a protest with that candy, damn.
No.
Jawbreakers, right? Literally.
Ayo.
So yeah, Amy and Robert exchange numbers, and Robert's happy.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
what
yes,
the
yes.
point of that
Well,
whole thing was. Yes.
First, though, Ray comes back and he asks Robert for help with a light bulb, changing a light bulb. Deborah volunteers to help instead so that they can have some privacy. But what does Ray say?
Where he says, "How
You
many
can't-
times am I gonna have to throw you up there?"
Yeah, something like that. But they, in the background of Ray and Deborah's exchange, Robert and Amy are, you know, flirting. He makes her laugh, and then he walks past them. He says, "Thank you for your number. I'll give you a call sometime." And then he leaves, right?
Yeah.
Did they exchange
Well,
something?
there's an exchange between Deborah and Raymond for a little while first, but yes, after he has that conversation, he does bounce.
Yeah, but before he leaves, by the way, he chins the number.
Yes, that's right.
Which is pretty funny.
Yeah, that was a good
that
touch.
was pretty funny.
That was a good touch.
I want to compliment the I guess you'd call it direction of this scene, and that I like that, like, the more intimate parts of Robert and Amy's exchange were just not in the focal point, and it made it feel kind of like it's just for them. It's just for those two characters, and it made it feel kind of like a little more special.
It
And,
was
I
nice.
like
It's
that.
always nice when it's not on sitcoms. It's nice when it does not seem staged, like it seems like a real place where real people are having conversations. And one of the ways to do that is to move the focus away from one conversation that's happening simultaneously to another one. And I think they did that really well in this.
Yeah, they did.
Because, like you're saying, they're, you know, flirting, and like the flowering of their relationship was just for them in this scene.
And you still feel it, even though you don't
Yeah,
hear
yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Which is
by
great.
the way that they react afterwards.
And I also like when Robert was leaving, like after he left, I think Ray said, like, that's the happiest I've ever seen him.
Yeah.
Which probably
No
made Amy
expression.
happy, which
Yeah.
is good.
We do get the tidbit that in Ray and Deborah's conversation that Robert's wife left him for a guy he arrested, which, I mean, the fundamental sadness of Robert makes a lot of sense.
The fundamental sense.
Just that betrayal. But we go to the next scene. It's later in the living room. Deborah and Allie are on the couch. We have this little exchange where Allie's all excited because a boy who has not been talking to her at school actually said something to her, and he said, "Stop talking to me," which I thought that was a nice little pocket joke.
It was, yeah.
It was.
I thought that was cute. I thought that. I thought Ray giving the line of like, "Oh, that means he likes you." I
Yeah.
thought that.
All I'm thinking is like, oh, that poor little boy.
That poor kid. Yeah, exactly.
But then Robert enters and tells him that he called Amy and he's set up a date, but he is so nervous that he wants to get out of it because he feels out of practice.
I did also like how when Robert entered, he said, "Hey, squirt" to Allie, and then Ray responded. I thought that was,
Yeah.
that was
And then
fun.
just like the little naturally feeling awkwardness about that Ray delivered pretty well.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you're talking to.
Oh, you're talking.
Yeah. I also liked Ray got a couple of good punches on Robert in this scene, and I thought they were all pretty funny.
Yeah. So Deborah asks Robert if he really wants to get out of this or if he liked Amy. He had the very funny line, "I felt a stirring," which is good. Little transphobic joke.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Where he says the only women I talk to are in handcuffs and half of them turn out to be men. Eek.
Yeah,
But
did not.
it was
age
the
well.
90s.
Yeah.
Gross. And but they move past that pretty quickly. Ray gives Robert some advice about navigating that moment at the end of the night, which I thought was pretty funny. It smacked of a stand-up bit, but I didn't do any research about it. Where he's talking about you start to lean in for the kiss, but if you lean in too far, then you have to, if she doesn't respond, you just sort of have to whisper in her ear, like, it's pretty humid, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is a legitimate strategy. I've used that strategy.
That poor woman that you used that.
No, but like you guys know what I'm saying,
I do,
right?
yes.
Like it's like the indicator of like I want to do this. I want like visual consent in that you also move closer to me, and if not, then we can stop now before it gets awkward. Like it's that visual communication. Ray did not communicate that part well, but that's kind of like what he was sharing.
Yeah, I think the intent there was good. And I liked how Ray's advice was not to just force yourself on the woman as well. It's to pull out if you're not getting that response and say,
It's
pretty human.
Yeah.
Huh? You should always get consent, and it's okay to ask for consent as well, verbally. But this was the 90s. They didn't know that yet. But Robert drills down to the problem where he doesn't think he's good looking enough for Amy. And he even says, "Look at me, I'm the Hulk," which is confirmation, I feel,
That he's got
For
superpowers.
our running thread of Robert's superpowers.
And then Ray delivered a great little comeback to this
Yeah.
line where he said, "Oh, come on, you're not green," which that was a good one.
It was.
And his rejoinder to Robert saying that he's not good looking enough well, you can't do anything about that. And
Yeah.
It was good.
But Deborah, trying to make Robert feel better, or just telling the truth, tells him that he is the most attractive of the Barones, which helps Robert and boosts his confidence, but it makes Ray a little insecure.
Well, to be clear, she does not say that Robert's the most attractive. She's implies it. She starts to
yes,
say it,
she
and then
essentially
And then
says
Ray just like the head turner, like, "I'm sorry."
Oh, what is that? What's that? No.
This is a little Tim Allen for
Yeah.
you.
it. Thanks.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But yeah, he doesn't love it. And immediately you can tell that this is gonna be an issue for Ray. But I thought it was great that Robert hears this, here's where it's going. I think that she says, "Every girl wants a guy that's tall, dark, and handsome." And I thought of all of the Barones, you're the tallest and the darkest.
Yeah.
And you could tell, obviously, you know where that's going. And I like that he gives a little snicker and then like slides off. Like
All
in a
Robert
smug-
needed to hear.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, all right, I'm good. I can go on this date.
Yeah.
Not only is it confirmation that he's objectively attractive, but he's more attractive than Raymond.
Yeah.
Which, for Robert,
That's what he needed.
it made the small man inside him fill the large man that he is. At least a little bit.
Yeah.
But our next scene is Ray in the bathroom. And I thought if we were to shoot this scene today, Ray would not be holding up a mirror, but the poses that he was in were very much like somebody trying to find a good angle for a selfie.
I was
Am I
thinking
right?
the same thing.
Yeah.
Right, isn't that funny?
Oh my God, Everybody Loves Raymond predicted smartphones.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that's it. Yeah.
But Deborah, so Ray is sort of looking for his best angle, looking how he looks with a smile.
Checking
and
for
then
bald
Deborah,
spots. Yeah.
Deborah appears in the doorway, and what's his cover? He says he's got ingrown hair.
Yeah,
or
he's got
something.
something. He's got something
Yeah.
ingrown on the back of his neck, is what he says.
But essentially, we see in their exchange that Deborah complimenting Robert made him insecure. And he talks about, as they're going into the bedroom, he talks about, oh, I'm better looking with a suntan. Don't look at my face when it's relaxed. It looks better flexed.
Oh, this might have been a little bit later, but I remember him saying something about the pores on his nose.
Oh, yeah. So Deborah tries to brush off all of his stupid comments about himself, and they gets into bed, turns off the light. Ray is sitting on the edge of the bed in the dark, and he says, it's the pores on my nose, right? Deborah says, you just think they're large because...
Dot, dot,
dot,
dot.
dot, dot. Because they're on my large nose. And then he lays down in the fetal position, which is
Yeah.
pretty pathetic.
Yeah. You guys remember earlier when I made that joke about my nose? It was in reference to this scene.
Yeah,
Oh,
I got it.
Yeah.
But I will also say, as a fellow large-nosed human, I have felt this exact feeling many times about my nose.
Oh, I thought you were going to say about the pores.
No, specifically the nose. The pores, whatever. Who cares about the
Pores, you can manage the pores.
Yeah.
The nose, that requires surgery.
Yeah. Accurate.
I mean, that's just an accurate
No,
statement.
that's just how it goes. Yeah, they make products for the pores, but they don't. If you have, first of all, Alex, your nose looks okay. Second
Yeah,
of all,
I've never thought of you as a big-nosed man.
I have a big nose, but it's okay.
yeah,
I mean, I'm sure if we measured it and measured each of our noses,
It would be the biggest.
it would be the big one.
emerge
Well,
as
you know
the
what they
biggest.
say.
But
What did they say, Alex?
Big nose.
What did they-
Big nose,
big ears,
big shoes,
big shoes, big smells, etc.
big
big money.
pant size.
Huge dick. Moving on. I actually thought it was. I thought it was very endearing seeing Ray this insecure, especially because he clearly cares about how Deborah views him, and you don't see that often in Everybody Loves Raymond, how much he cares about what his wife thinks, and I thought that was
also
it was
the
cute.
word that came to me, was like, it's, obviously his insecurity is not attractive, and it's not going to make Deborah more attracted to him or think him more attractive, but it is endearing to know that he's worried about this and that he actually wants to look good for her, as we then see in the later scenes. But in the very next scene, he goes over to Marie and Frank's.
Oh, yes.
And Marie's cooking. Isn't it freaking weird how completely detached from everything else the stove is? That jumped out at me as like, usually a stove is nestled in a countertop.
Like next to the fridge or near it.
I've never
must be
noticed
a
that,
fourth
but you're
wall
right.
thing.
Yeah. I've never thought about that, but you're 100% right. It is weird that it's in its own kind of island.
The reason is, right, like for the show, for purpose of the show, is to get the characters like reasons to move around the set.
Yeah.
But like that's a good point. No house is
I would
built
hope
like
in
that.
with the fourth wall, we're just not seeing that the counter continues and then, wraps around the front or anything like that. But it just looked weird. It looked like the set wasn't done, but...
or maybe it's just a weird house.
Yeah, it could just be a weird house where the stove plug is over there.
Yeah.
But Ray comes over and he asks Marie how he looks after looking at himself in the toaster, which Marie thinks means he wants toast. And she immediately starts pointing out all the things that look bad about him. He's pale, his eyes are sunken in, you look awful, she says, have some raisin toast. But she also mentions that Robert called last night and said he wasn't coming home. Ray tells her it's because he had a date.
And then she got
and
very excited.
Marie is over the moon.
Yeah.
He's been so down since the divorce, and it's such a waste that he hasn't been dating because he's such a good-looking boy. And
Ray takes that to heart even more.
Ray takes that to heart. That's confirmation that it's not just Deborah. She mentions how beautiful Robert was. He used to turn heads, and he looked like Valentino. And Ray says, he's Valentino, and I'm Fievel. It's time for me to explain these references.
Thank you. I was gonna
look
ask.
at you.
So Fievel is the protagonist. He's a cartoon mouse from the 1986 animated film An American Tail, and its sequel, Fievel Goes West. But Rudolph Valentino, who you probably know less about, his nickname was the Latin Lover, and he was a 1920s sex symbol from silent films. What's interesting about... Oh, no, please do.
This is a reference that might go over both of your heads, but I'm going to make it anyway. Does this have anything to do with the Vine, the Valentino white bag, or anything like that? Did he put out a fashion line?
Wow.
There is a fashion designer who was mononymously known as Valentino. This is a different person.
Okay. What were you going to say, Alex?
I was going to say, wow, that did go over my head.
Well, too bad. Okay, good to know. Anyway, moving on.
Different guy.
Gotcha.
Rudolph Valentino, nicknamed the Latin Lover, was a 1920s sex symbol. What's interesting about Valentino? He died at age 31.
Oh.
And the quote from his Wikipedia page, his early death at the age of 31 caused mass hysteria among his fans. An estimated 100,000 people lined the streets of Manhattan to pay their respects at his funeral. Suicides of despondent fans were reported.
Oh my
Windows
God.
were smashed as fans tried to get into the funeral, and an all-day riot erupted on August 24th. Over 100 mounted officers of the NYPD were used to restore order. The funeral director hired 4 actors to impersonate a fascist black shirt honor guard purportedly sent by Benito Mussolini.
Oh my God.
Holy shit! So first of all, it's horrible that he passed away so young. I'm not meaning to make light of that, but they knew how to do they took celebrity to a whole different extent back then. Jesus.
This man was the sexiest man in the 1920s.
He would have been
even
number
in
one.
19
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He would have been number one on the list.
It doesn't matter if he was from Long Island. He would have been number one.
The death of Valentino is why Long Island Magazine started the very next year publishing the Sexiest People list.
Because they
memoriam.
wanted people to still look at all the sexy people that were still around.
They wanted to give people hope
There was
that
actually
there were still sexy people in the world.
there was actually a dip in births after the death of Valentino because people said, "Well, what's the point of sex anymore?
What's the point?
What's the
I can't imagine you're Valentino.
I was practicing this whole time
Yeah.
for the slim chance that I may get to, but
For when
now
I-
it'll never work.
No, it'll never happen.
For when I got called up to the majors and got to have sex with Valentino.
All right.
But that's who Valentino is. He was so sexy that even 77 years later, a reference to him being sexy was still funny.
I don't know if it'd land today. I think now
I mean-
the 100-year memoriam has
mean-
been capped.
Did it land for you,
Uh-oh,
Mike?
you guys froze.
I mean,
I didn't get it.
No.
I needed Adam
I
to
got what he
explain
was-
it to
We're
me.
so close.
I got what he was going for, you know?
Yeah, I understood like the context of what he was saying because of the setup.
I got who Fievel was. I know who Fievel is, but that's it.
All right.
So that's Valentino. But back to Raymond. Marie tells Ray that he favors his father, whereas Robert looks more like her. And then on cue, Frank enters, asking what the difference between a bunion and a corn is. Should I have done research to answer that question?
No, I don't
want
want- I'm good not knowing that.
Absolutely not. And no.
But
Corn to eat.
No.
they tell him that Robert had a date, and Frank is also thrilled, and he says he wants to convert Robert's room into a study. And then Marie says, to study what? Your feet?
I thought that was a good
but-
comment.
That was a
They
great
both-
line.
But Frank also goes on about how handsome Robert is, and they didn't tell Robert how beautiful he is because they didn't want to screw him up. And Ray says, look how that turned out.
I thought that this was such a funny justification for Robert's self-esteem issues that just like, oh yeah, well he's hot. And we just don't want him to know that because we don't want him to be arrogant. I just thought that was so freaking funny.
It's
yeah.
This is also this whole thing is just such a wonderful explanation for just why this family is the way that it is. Just to finish out the scene real quick, because I want to talk about this. Like, Robert comes back, they congratulate him on his date, and the minute Ray then leaves, they start complimenting Ray to Robert,
Right.
and they make him upset. And it's just like these parents' strategy is just to pit these brothers against each other, and just like we see it in full motion here. Like, this is why Ray and Robert are the way that they are.
Yeah.
Like, it makes so much sense in a way that feels so real that it's sad.
Genuinely.
Yeah.
I agree.
They think they're doing such a great job of not over-complimenting them and giving them a big head that they forget that they actually should be positively reinforcing their kids and telling them, hey, you are a sweet and wonderful boy, Ray, or, you know what, Robert? You are so handsome.
Yeah,
And
but that's how
everybody
they get
thinks so.
sensitive, Adam, and we can't have that.
Yeah, neither of these guys are sensitive at all
No.
or emotionally fragile in any way.
No.
I do want to say about Robert's entrance, he enters so suavely.
Yeah.
And he talks about the sunrise and...
This is the biggest we've ever seen Robert.
Yeah. Compared to all his other entrances where he is so uncomfortable to be entering a room, this is such a flip. I thought it was funny how Frank says it's just like riding a bike, right? Getting back into dating. And Robert just very debonairly says, no, there was no cycling. Amy's quite the lady.
She's a lady.
I wanted to get my line in here because I thought it was good. Like, before Robert would come in and say, is this about me? But this episode, he came in and said, this is about me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's accurate. That's
good.
Yeah, I like that. Snaps.
I love a good Robert slam. Is that a slam? It's like a slam poetry line. It's not a slam like an insult. I love good Robert content. And that's what I'm going to leave in when I edit the rest of that line. I'm just gonna say, I love good Robert content. So Ray leaves, and yeah, they tell Robert, oh, wow, Ray is such a sweet, wonderful boy, which that parallel is so funny.
Yeah, it really is. Really is.
Ray goes back to his house. Deborah is mopping up what appears at first to be a murder, but is actually spaghetti sauce.
Well, this is
and-
the next day, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is later. Other stuff, like the twins made a huge mess. Deborah's cleaning it up. Ray enters behind Deborah. She doesn't see him at first, and he is a
audience
sight
gets a
to
good
behold. I mean, it says so much about what Ray thinks is attractive that he went and got either a spray tan or he went into a tanning booth, and
Got
his hair
greased
is
back
completely
hair.
slicked back.
My money is on this the spray tan because he's not going to have it next episode.
That's a good
True.
point. That's a good point. But Deborah finally turns around and sees him and starts cracking up. I thought this was very... this was just like an adorable scene for Ray and Deborah's relationship.
It really
Like,
was. It really, really was. Deborah starts unpacking all of the crap that he bought.
his personal products.
The mousse, the gel, the
the
finisher,
volumizer.
the volumizer.
I thought the joke about the clarifier was very good.
Yeah.
Do you even know what this stuff is for? Well, that's why I have the clarifier. that was a good one.
On the one hand, it's like, and I think this is where we end up at the end of the episode. It's like, oh, Ray's just trying to do some self-care. He's trying to, look his best. But then, on the other hand, it's like he obviously got taken for a ride at the store.
Oh,
where they
100%.
just
Which
completely upsell him on all
Deborah
this stuff.
says the same thing, to which Ray denies and claims that these people know what they are doing. They're wearing lab coats.
Yeah.
Is that a reference to like? I've never been into like or not for long in a Sephora or anything like that.
It happens.
I
Is
don't
there-
wear
are there
lab
people in
coats in
lab coats?
Sephora, but
Yeah.
I think back in like this time period, department stores like Macy's and stuff where they have the perfume counter and everything, I think they would wear some sort of uniform.
Yeah. What is it called? Like the cosmologist, or is that something else?
No, that sounds right. I don't know if that's
That's
actually right,
either
but it sounds
somebody
good.
who is who studies stars, or a cosmologist is a scientist who studies space-based and ground-based
All right,
telescopes.
so they probably don't have cosmologists.
I think you're
selling
thinking of a
perfume.
cosmetologist.
Cosmetologist. That's what I'm thinking of.
That
yes.
was close. That's pretty close. I give it to you, Alex.
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah. So just say cosmetologist, and I'll
Yeah.
edit out you being wrong.
It's a cosmopolitan. It's a cosmopolitan. It's a cosmo. What's it called?
A cosmetologist.
It's a cosmetologist.
Adam, you need
Perfect.
to leave all of that in.
Well, now he has to because you ran over my line of
Yes.
cosmopolitan.
That's true. It's not clean anymore.
All right. Well, it's all in.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Deborah compares Ray to George Hamilton. Do you want me to tell you who George Hamilton is?
I would love
Yes,
it if you told me who
please.
George Hamilton is.
Hamilton began his film career in 1958, and although he has a substantial body of work in film and television, he is perhaps most famous for his debonair style and his perpetual suntan.
There you go.
Okay,
Hence
well that would explain the
reference.
suntan. Was he in anything I would know?
He was in his best known things are Zorro the Gay Blade from 1981, Love at First Bite, he played Dracula, The Godfather Part 3, and Hollywood Ending. Yeah, his film work is not as important as
This reference.
his tan, I guess. Because I don't know. I mean, he was in one episode of Grace and Frankie recently also.
Okay.
So Deborah's making reference to George Hamilton's famous tan
Yep,
and
yep.
Ray's spray tan. But Ray sort of comes out and says that, you don't think I'm as handsome as Robert. But Deborah says that although Robert is handsome, he's not who she's attracted to. And she just wants her regular Ray, the Ray that she fell in love with. And I thought Ray's response to that of, "Are you saying then that I'm sexy?" was pretty funny.
Yeah, it was.
I was.
And she says yes, and then they make out for a long time.
It was.
It was.
And
It
then-
was like just a little too long.
Yeah, they like to linger on this show. Actually, that hasn't happened yet. No, we've never seen anyone kiss yet on this show.
This was the steamiest kiss so far in the series.
Yeah,
I
I
gotta say.
bet
So far,
it won't get topped.
This is the steamiest, longest kiss we've ever seen.
and it probably will be for a
And I
long
think-
time.
If we see another one, let's not address any
This.
comparison to this kiss.
Yeah, I agree.
But they make out for a beat too long, and of course this gets Ray's motor running, and Deborah is like, "You know what this wants me to do? What the fuck? You know what this makes me want to do?" And Ray's like, "Oh yeah," and then Deborah
I bought
puts
something
on
for that too.
their song. Oh yeah,
fuck
I
did he
bought something
buy?
for that too.
You're right. He did say that. But I was just like, wait, what? I don't.
Lubricant, contraceptives
could-
That's both of those are possible.
Devices.
at the perfume store.
Yeah.
This is
But
gonna
no,
make your wife
Deborah
wanna
wants
try
to
new stuff. Sorry, Adam. Go ahead.
dance to their song, which is "I'll Take You There" by the Staples Singers.
I didn't
The
know the
Staple
song.
Singers.
I didn't know the song, but I thought it was the whole dancing sequence was just like it was just really really cute. And we don't get
Oh yeah.
we don't get moments like that on ELR, and I was very happy that we got it for this one because
For sure, for sure.
when they come, they hit
And it-
hard.
Pardon?
When they come, Jesus Christ, when they
Enunciate, Mike.
thank you. When they come, meaning like when the romantic moments arrive, they hit hard. It makes me realize, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, they're actually they can be loving to each other. Yeah.
For sure. And yeah, this scene is really felt very authentic and real and cute. And Ray does his dance move, which is like a spin into a moonwalk.
Yeah.
which
which
the
is very
audience
nice.
loved, by the way. They ate that shit up.
When
Oh,
actors
yeah.
can prove that they can do things other than act, like usually it gets people very excited for whatever reason.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they went nuts over the hair tie trick too. So I gotta, yeah.
I wonder if the warm up for the show was like you're going to see Ray bust a move in this episode. Are you guys ready for that? And they were like, hell yeah.
I don't want to spoil
And then when
the
it
plot,
happened, it happened in a big
but
way.
Raymond is going to moonwalk, and it will make sense.
Oh yeah, that scene ends, and it's just a very sweet scene, and we go to our hot close, which is also very sweet. Ray and Robert are in the Barone kitchen just trying out skincare products.
Yeah, they're like talking about the exfoliant and all this different, like all the creams and all the colognes, and it's great.
And Frank, sort of in the same way that Ray entered his kitchen, Frank enters this kitchen behind Ray and Robert, and the whole, as you know, they're spraying the cologne and talking about the creams and the exfoliants. The whole thing is set up like Frank is going to say something homophobic or shitty.
Yeah.
But, hold on, my light died. But instead, he sits down, and after a beat, he asks them if they know of anything for this dry patch that he has under his eye. And it's just a very nice ending for the scene.
I thought it was really funny. It was also the first moment that I realized that, like, holy crap, they actually... I thought I remembered a couple moments from this episode. Like, we talked about moments that bring you back. There were a couple moments here that brought me back of like, oh yeah, I remember this. But the thing that really stuck out to me is I thought this was from a later season, because in order for that joke to work, of Frank slowly crossing the room, giving them the dead eye, and sitting down and delivering the line, you need to have a working understanding of the Frank Barone character. And it made me realize, I'm just like, they got there. This joke works now, and I thought it was good.
Sure.
Yeah, for sure.
This was one scene, much like when they cut to foreign countries in the hot close. This was one where I was worried the whole time that this was something where we were going to have a talk about, and it was not that.
No, I landed.
It subverted that expectation, and it was just a nice father and son's bonding moment. I really liked it.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's honestly
and then it hits
it.
the
That's
close.
the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Great episode,
the conflict
guys.
at this episode was just that Ray was insecure, and then his insecurity was resolved, and apparently he's going to be taking better care of his skin from now on, which is great for everyone.
Just off camera.
Yeah, exactly. I won't lie. I don't think that's going to become a running theme, but it would be nice if it did.
Well, I think as viewers, we'll keep in the back of our mind, this guy's exfoliating.
Well, we do see Raymond's nightly routine every single night, which typically only involves brushing his teeth and taking off his pants.
That's all we see, though.
Yeah.
You don't know if there's more.
Well, what I'm saying is we need to keep an eye out for a skincare routine happening. We got to see if he does
That's
a mask.
right.
We got to see if he does cucumbers.
They got the props now. Maybe they just
Cucumbers.
decorate the bathroom with them.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Yeah, I mean, once you've got the props, it's like you can do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, when we go downstairs in the Barone zone to the Dwayne Reed, we make a list of all of the skincare products featured in this episode: gel, mousse, volumizer, clarifier, exfoliants, and then we go down there and we get them. We do the Ray Barone skincare regimen, and we
Trademark.
look great.
Yes, and that's why this podcast has no visuals.
Yeah.
That's right. Because we look too good.
We would break all the camera.
Yeah.
That's why
we got the sexiest man in Long Island here.
Yeah, that's right.
It's true. Asterisk. But the time has come for us to wrap this episode up by rating Ray on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the great dads of sitcom history, your Danny Tanner, your Uncle Phil, your Carl Winslow from Family Matters, your other example,
I think you got the big
one
ones.
being one being the men who actively harm their family, Don Draper, Walter White. Where is Ray, Alex, coming for you as a husband, father, son,
Brother,
wife's
Son, all
husband
the
of
things,
former coworker and friend? Where's he coming in for you?
So here's my dilemma with this episode, because Ray was I thought was pretty good in this episode, but like he really wasn't like the problem solver. He was the problem haver. And his problem was, it's a reasonable one, not, feeling good about yourself. Everyone feels that from time to time. And I felt like his insecurities were reasonable based on the context of the episode, where like obviously Deborah was saying that to Robert to make him feel better, and then maybe she said like a little too much, and then Ray got hurt. And the whole episode he was just kind of trying to improve himself, like we talked about. But I also don't think he like really like he didn't solve his own problem. He was just like very open and honest about his feelings. He didn't try to hide it or mask it. So I feel comfortable giving him a 6 because, like he wasn't, he was open and honest, but like he wasn't the one doing the assisting or the helping or anything like that. Not that you have to be that, but
I think I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah. Like he was the one with the issue, and he needed assistance, and he asked for it, and he got it.
I'm gonna say I think he was a really, really good. I think he did really well this episode. I'm actually gonna go higher than you. I'm gonna give him an 8, and the reason being is because you're right, but he didn't. Well, I don't know if I would 100% agree that he didn't solve the problem, because he tried. I think we saw him being vulnerable, which is not something that we always get with Raymond, at least not willingly. If we're talking about him, we don't really see him interacting with his kids too much. We see him not comforting, but we see him having a nice moment with Allie, and that's kind of it. But he does set the example of having the ability to be insecure and try to do something about it. And what he did wasn't successful, I would say, but at the same time he tried. He cared about what his wife thought about him. He helped out his brother at the end of things. I'm not going to give him a 10 because he also took a lot of glee in knocking down his brother at a couple points during the episode. But at the same time, we didn't mention it, but there was a great line in the middle where he was like, when Amy and Robert were having their first conversation, where he was concerned about his bro. He thought he said something like, "Oh no, this is gonna go really, really poorly for him." And Amy laughs at something, and he goes, "Oh, look at that, she's laughing at him." And I thought that was that was funny, but it was also a very cute moment of just like, he cares. So I saw a lot of care going into this episode. I'm giving Ray a positive result. I'm gonna give him an 8.
Well, he said that because he doesn't believe in his brother, Mike.
Well, yeah, but he also wants to protect his brother. It comes from the same place.
Does it?
Yes.
Okay. Adam?
I'm going to come in, well, I don't know. I'm going to speak and then decide at the end. Like you're saying, Ray is insecure in this episode, but he has a good interaction with his daughter. He has he is coming at Robert's situation from a place of concern. He doesn't want his recently divorced brother to get hurt. At the same time, he's extremely jealous of him because he's just now realizing his brother is handsome, and his parents are not helping him in feeling good about that. But at the end of the day, his wife helps him, and, he doesn't hold, I really don't think he holds Deborah saying Robert is handsome against her in any way. The conflict is fully within him, which I think is good. That he doesn't because it could have easily been that he turns on her and, interrogates her about Robert being handsome. He just internalizes that immediately and becomes a bit of a mess, or has a bit of a crisis, I'll say. But I don't blame him for that. He's an emotionally stunted man, and he's dealing with these things in the best way that he can. I think at the end he learns that Deborah likes him for who he is, and if he wants to take better care of his skin, great. There's growth there. I will credit him for that. I'm a guy who used to think skincare products were for women, and now I know that they make a whole line of crap for men, and I'm going to use it. So in recognition of that, I'm also going to give Ray an 8 because, he doesn't hurt anyone. He resolves his problem. He learns something. And, he did good this episode.
All right. So I think
I really like what you said, that the problem exists solely within him. And that's just what I wanted to say.
Okay.
And sorry,
Thank
I
you.
know you're doing math in your head, but I'm going to ruin it for you.
Oh, dude, yeah, I got it right. It was. It looks like it's coming out to a 7.3 and three,
All right.
three repeating, of course, for this episode, which is way higher than he typically does. So good for Raymond. So yeah,
Which is good.
that'll do it for this episode of Everybody Loves Raymond. And yeah,
And this episode of Everybody Loves Raymond.
yes. All right, so everybody, thank you so much for listening. Thanks for sticking to the end of this podcast. If you liked what you hear, please make sure you subscribe and support our sponsors at postfun.info/ads. That's postfun.info/ads.
They already heard it once.
Don't
They don't need to hear
forget-
it again.
Leave a rating or a review on whatever platform you listen to. That helps us climb the charts. And speaking of the charts, big shout out to our friends in Trinidad and Tobago, as always. What do we call them? Send in a remembrance to us, or a topic for us to debate on Judge Deborah, to our Instagram or Facebook at Barone Zone, or to Raymond at postfun.info. But other than that, there's only one last thing to say. It's our classic sign-off. Everybody
Loves
Raymond.
And we love